What even is a vapor barrier, and is it needed if you're using RetroFoam? Let's talk about it. You've probably heard the terms vapor barrier and vapor retarder. Now they are two different things. They do kind of the same thing, but at different levels or different classes. Vapor barrier, it stops or slows down the movement of water vapor. This is also known as diffusion when water vapor is trying to get into your home or again just through any sort of structure. Usually we think walls, ceilings, roofs, foundations, that sort of thing. The point of this, or the goal of a vapor barrier, is to help prevent issues like mold, water penetration issues that get into your home. The vapor barrier itself, the main goal of that for the most part is to stop diffusion, stop water vapor from diffusing through building materials, through wall assemblies, ceiling assemblies, etc., from getting into your house. I do want to point out that 99% of water infiltration issues are really solved through a proper air seal. Diffusion only accounts for about, like I said, 1% of actual water vapor penetration. If you have a proper air seal, you're solving about 99% of your problems. This is one reason that we always talk about the importance of an air seal, of using building materials that are air impermeable, that provide an air seal, and establishing your building envelope. That's not to say that that 1% doesn't matter. It absolutely does. But when you think about what kind of vapor barrier, where should you place your vapor barrier, it gets really complicated trying to solve that 1%. The reason I say it can get complicated is because the general rule of thumb is your vapor barrier will go on the warm side of your wall assembly. Well, the problem with that is seasons change. For example, if you're, in the Midwest, your temperatures or your warm side of your wall assembly can change several times throughout the year, sometimes multiple times during the day or during a week. Are you going to tear down your wall and move your wall assembly over every time winter comes? Now, no, probably not. That's why I say it can get a little bit complicated because realistically, where you place that, it's going to change. The needs of that are going to change as seasons do, as temperature does, as weather changes. So keep in mind, it's not if you do one thing, it solves all of your problems. And this is where a lot of builders and contractors nowadays are moving into a different kind of school of thought, whereas you want to make your home as tight as possible and rely on your HVAC to make sure that there's proper humidity in the house. If there's excess, it's getting ventilated out. If you need to bring fresh air in, it's being brought in through those mechanicals. Now, I do for a second want to touch on codes and inspections and that sort of thing. As many contractors and builders know that work in multiple counties, it really depends on your climate zone, your county specifically, and the inspector who's working on your project, because that inspector's interpretation of the code is really the final say. And you will find different inspectors in different areas will have different interpretations even within the same climate zone. So there's a lot of gray area in this. If someone really wants a vapor barrier, by all means, definitely do it. You don't want to go double. That can lead to a lot of issues. And if doing one isn't going to solve all your problems, there's bigger things to think about is the point. So is a vapor barrier important? Is it recommended? Yes, absolutely. Do you need a vapor barrier, especially if you're using something like RetroFoam, something that's going into an existing wall where you're not going to tear down the walls? That's the point of you using a product like that, because you don't have to tear everything open. At that point, I would say you do not have to worry about remodeling your house to add a vapor barrier on either side. Have those walls properly insulated with something like RetroFoam and make sure your HVAC is up to date. Make sure it's properly inspected and tuned up as needed. I know we went over a lot just now, but we're only scratching the surface when it comes to topics like vapor barriers, moisture drive, HVAC, and how everything plays together. If you want to learn more about this, and you should because you're a smart consumer and a savvy homeowner, go to our link below to our learning center. We have all kinds of articles, videos, and blogs, everything you need to know about foam insulation. This is the Professor of Foam reminding you that building is a science.